it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby, they don't want you to see, but everybody's out to Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and plan to getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
That Dre season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete. I'm a verbal athlete, deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Hello, everybody. Grand Rising and good morning to all of you out there. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I want to welcome you to another thorough Thursday right here in the Black Media Matter Studios. Excited to be in the studio with my co-host with the most, as always, my guy, Big O. What's up, Big O?
Trey Holiday.
Hey.
What's up? How are you?
I'm well. How are you, my friend?
I'm all right. It feels good to be back here in the studio.
Yeah. We missed you yesterday, but G-Press definitely filled in with his amazing spirit. You know, great to have you back with us.
Yeah, no, so it's lots of good energy. You know what I'm saying? Actually, we have a short show today. Julia Jessie was supposed to join us. She got called in. You know, she works in government in Washington, D.C., so she got called in over there. And then our twins, it's the birthday. The factory. Wishing a very happy birthday to Ronald and Ronell Moore.
Happy
to
birthday.
The Factors. Happy birthday. You get Trey Holiday in this shot over there, Salman.
Yeah, happy birthday, brothers.
Yeah, big happy birthday to the Factors, man. We can't wait to get you back down in the studio. I think we got a few presents for him. Return
nice.
here to the studio. Yeah, so we're gonna be checking in today. Yesterday, me and Basa Gordon, we were out there at the Kraken Community Iceplex out in D5 Northgate, and it was Kraken Day yesterday. 3-2 Kraken Day across the city of Seattle. Caught up with Mayor Bruce Harrell. I asked him, one, why is Kraken Day important for Black people? And then two, also talked to him about this economic plan they just put forth $8 million for recovery for small businesses and everything else. And it's real interesting. So we kind of did some research as to where the money is coming from, a big portion of it. And so we're going to be discussing that after the first break. So, we'll dive into that. So we got a few things here, but let's get it going. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I want to remind you that right now is perfect time for you to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Want to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and also KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Remind everybody you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere that you listen to your favorite podcast. He's got SoundCloud right there up on the screen. You also check us out on Google, Spotify, iTunes. All you have to do is search Converge Media Network. Salman is putting a link in the comments right now, hereforuswa.gov. Hereforuswa.gov. This is a resource curated specifically for our community with resources and tools around COVID-19, the vaccination, questions and concerns. It's targeted towards people who are hesitant and are want their questions answered, but also there's other resources there where you can get tested if you want to get vaccinated, and also a booster shot.
Yeah, it's comprehensive. And I think the Department of Health has done what they can to try to really reach the portion of community that is still hesitant. Makes a lot of sense. A lot of things are changing with COVID, as we see kind of right here and across the nation.
Yeah, no, definitely in real time. Well, something came across my desk. I didn't have a chance to format this, but something that's coming out of Olympia. So I'll just read it here. There's a lot of different community groups that are in opposition of a bill. Or community groups, when I say community groups, organizations and groups in Seattle's Black community that people might recognize. And I'll talk about a few of them here. But it's the Senate Bill 5561 makes it harder for people with a conviction history to restore their firearm rights. It extends the time frames for those with a misdemeanor from 3 to 5 years and adds a new requirement that an applicant notify prosecutors in any county wherever they were convicted of. So basically, this is a bill right here that's being introduced where people want to restore their rights. If they might have had an issue with the law, they want to restore their right, to vote, and they want to restore their rights to firearms. And when I talk about community groups here, hold on. Sorry, we usually get all this kind of stuff together before. So some of the groups that are in opposition of Senate Bill 5561 looks like A. Philip Randolph Institute, All of Us or None of Us, Around the Table Farm, Civil Survival Project, Community Passageways, Hope for Homies, No New Washington Prisons, North Kitsap, Invisible. I mean, it's a pretty long list here. We'll see how we might be able to translate this over to our website. I don't know a lot about it. We haven't really been on the Olympia watch. You know what I'm saying? We might have to call up Hannah. It's been a minute to see everything that's going on down in Olympia. But this just came across. I didn't know were you aware of this?
Yeah, this is something that, a lot of people are talking about. I mean, there's several bills. Trust me, this has been a really interesting legislative session. This is why, folks have been encouraging community members to be engaged. Again, emailing your elected officials, letting them know where you stand. Even the idea of saying you're pro or con something really helps our state reps, press for these things in this legislative session. They need that community support. So this is one that kind of across the board, a lot of people are saying, look, we really need to have more restorative practices. And ultimately, there's an issue here when we talk about extending something like this when it comes to being able to carry a firearm. Here in the state of Washington, there are some unique ways that we've really gone about this that are a bit different from some major urban areas in the nation. And I think it's important that we really hear from these community groups. I mean, when you see a plethora of groups coming together, you realize that there is some type of solidarity in that regard. Of course, this bill is being introduced because there are a lot of folks who do want to see these extensions. And so this is why it's important for people to be engaged, whether you're pro or con anything, the fact that your voice is a part of the discussion is important.
Yeah. All right. Well, there it is. Like I said, we'll get more information on this with this many different organizations in our community. making their voice heard about this bill. We definitely want to follow up with them, get more info. All right, we got a nice overlay here. Man, For Culture, they just keep opening the bag. 2022 project grants, right? And so we'll keep this up here for a second, Salman. This is applied by, what's it say, April 20th there. And it says here, get that project you've been dreaming of underway. Applications for Culture's project grants are now open, supporting projects in arts, heritage, and historic preservation. They have lots of resources available to help you navigate the process. We've got the link. We got a link over there, right? Okay, fantastic. Salman put the link in the comments there. You can go and check this out. But man, here it is. Again, For Culture, Trey Holiday, they're opening up the bag.
There we go. I mean, we've been talking about the intentionality of For Culture, but I think it's really why they were created. And so they're just on par with the reason, their mission, their vision, what they're here to do. We know that there is a large gap when it comes to arts funding. We see it in our schools, we see it in community. And For Culture is saying, look, we know what our mission is. We're on brand, we're on task. We want to make these processes easy for folks out there in community that qualify for these grants. They really have lowered the barriers. And again, shout out to For Culture for being consistent, because this funding is necessary. And oftentimes, certain projects really don't always fit the mold. So they had to create a whole entity to be like, you know what? No, we're here to actually provide funding for all of the other things that slip through the cracks. We're here for that. And I love that they're doing another project funding round right here. It's necessary.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. This is interesting right here. This is actually, I guess, a few days ago this came out, but I just saw it this morning, and I watched the video. I didn't want to get struck because it looks like it belongs to Complex, so I made an overlay here. This is J.R. Smith, and the actual video, is pretty dope. But J.R. Smith is basically criticizing the culture there, the NBA, where he's like, man, guys have spent $60,000 in a strip club. They would rather spend $60,000 in a strip club than feed 2,500 people. And, in the video, he talks about, he said, man, I'm hypocritical of myself too. He was like, I look back at my career and I'm like, damn, what was I thinking? He said, I wanted to be so Eurocentric and I wanted to be all about, how I look and the fashion, this and that. He said, man, I could have been saving my community and my neighborhood. But he was like, the mindset was like, let me go to the strip club and blow 60 racks. He was like, man, do you realize how many people in my neighborhood I could help with just one trip to the strip? And so, I mean, it's really good. He's, he played 16 seasons, has in the NBA, has 2 rings. And it was really good. It was kind of refreshing to hear that kind of talk of like, man, how do we put resources back in the community? He talked about how all the guys who play for LA, he said they're all 100 millionaires. He was like, yo, why don't you guys inspire the hood by building a gym? You use UCLA to go work out. Why not put your money together and build a gym? And yeah, so it's real interesting there. We'll see it. We'll put a link on our social media after the show.
Oh, me, this is something I love, because this is something that is talked about oftentimes when we think about redistributing the wealth. Now, it's not as if this country has not made, Black people. There's not people that are either self-made or bought through their skills and talent, like some of our athletes and entertainers. But there are so many Black people that actually are multimillionaires, billionaires even. The idea is that, a real opportunity exists around them, ensuring that, no, I'm not just giving out turkeys on Thanksgiving, but I'm making an impact. I'm building institutions. I'm creating, Black businesses. I'm opening up a fund that allows for recurring funds to be drawn out so that our businesses and our community can thrive. These are the things that we're talking about. I got to say that I love hearing it from somebody who's in that realm, because oftentimes, community can keep saying it over and over again, right? But the idea is that somebody who is at that level is also criticizing himself and then really challenging others to think about how they're spending their money is so key and crucial. Everything isn't about entertainment. Sometimes you really got to be thinking about, what am I doing to impact a legacy outside of the industry I'm working in? Because let's be honest, that they're already creating a legacy. Young Black players, young people that look like them can say, okay, man, these guys made it. Like, hey, this guy's my hero, or this guy, I look up to him. But ultimately, how else are you utilizing your wealth to make a real impact in your community. So I really appreciate this message. And I really am hoping that it's inspiring to others to do something.
Yeah, nah. I mean, this is real deal. Like, I just gotta get out that mindset. You know what I'm saying? As the mindset of having to prove something or show off something. It's like, man, we really need all hands on deck at all levels in our community, from those, you know, who are extremely well off to those just getting started in between. There's enough work and opportunity for everybody to be able to make a difference in our community.
Yeah, come on. And I'll also say this. I have always wondered why people who have money care about their look so much that they need to buy these major brands that, if we're really honest and we peel back this onion, they made their wealth off of the backs of slavery. When we talk about the fashion industry in particular, cotton obviously is a major source of fashion, and there's many houses, designer houses all throughout Europe that people are, you know, wanting to be with these designers. They made their money in that regard, and I think it's so important. How much more could they establish in terms of building Black Wall Streets all across this country if people like him and others said, no, I buy all Black stuff. I'm buying these hoodies, I'm buying these do-rags, I'm buying these shoes, I'm buying these sweatshirts. I'm making this popular, instead of trying to be that with that Eurocentric mindset. So I love how he even called that out, because honestly, it's not about you shopping at, like, okay, Target or Walmart or, you know, Ross or something, but you can actually say, look, I'm seeking out Black designers that are up and coming. I'm seeking out small business owners. I'm going to be supporting them with the wealth I have. So I love that he pointed that out too.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right. So yesterday, me and Basa Gordon, we were out there in D5, out there at Northgate, the Kraken Community Iceplex. It was Kraken Day here in the city of Seattle. And lots of activities were going on yesterday. Big shout out to Diaria, who's a communications manager out there for the Seattle Kraken. She's doing a fantastic job and engaging people, engaging with us and other media. So I saw the mayor. Well, so it was a few people speaking, including Todd Lewicki, who is the CEO of the Kraken. And you had Councilmember Juarez, who was there. It's D5, that's her district, and then Mayor Harrell. And so I asked Mayor Harrell, I was like, you know, this is cool. And that place is dope. Have you been there?
Yeah.
Oh, that was my first time there. I mean, that's an amazing space. It would be great to get, you know, something like that built in D2 or D3. You know what I'm saying? It's like economic driver, community hub. Anyways, I asked Mayor Harrell, I was like, well, why should our community be excited about Kraken and Kraken Day?
Kraken Day is important because one of the things they committed is to make sure that the jobs and the contractors will be that minority-owned contractors, in particular African-American-owned contractors as well, will enjoy the revenue, will be part of the program. And so we measured that, they came through. So we're big on integrity. If you say you're going to do something, do it. So they're showing to us in terms of who they're hiring and how they're spreading their money around, and we'll continue to measure it. So, you know, we all live in a world where we're supposed to be accountable, and they're proving their accountability. So that's why it's important to recognize when people are doing things right.
Yeah, you know, I can just say this, you know, I think our folks over with Traveling While Black also kind of pointed this out when they did their episode on the Kraken game. But, you know, I did see that there were people that they've hired. Now, maybe not, they're not the stars on the ice, but behind the scenes, you could actually kind of visually see that the Kraken has done, you know, some effort to make sure that they have Black people represented in their staff. And then also, too, I will say, even at the stadium, there are options that are like, hey, these are Black-owned businesses that are in here in terms of concessions and all of that. So it was really interesting to hear this from Mayor Harrell's perspective of how they really have said, we're going to be intentional about how we, you know, do business. And part of that is about supply and demand. And we know that if they're looking for, you know, ways to bring in, you know, smaller Black businesses or larger Black businesses that can handle that supply, it's a great way to make that happen.
Right. Well, I think one of the things as well is that, and what they pointed, what one of the speakers pointed out yesterday is that they spent a considerable amount of, they invested a lot in WIMBY construction. As far as, you know, the building of Climate Pledge and everything else. It's almost like the Kraken and Climate Pledge are like hand in hand, you know. And so apparently they were intentional in spending there. But you know, I mean, it's hey, you know, the Kraken are here. I've yet to go to a Kraken game. You know, maybe it was is that a new experience for us? You've already been. I've never been.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Like I was telling those guys, I'm like, look. It was exciting. I didn't know that it was going to be honest. I was like, you know, and then I found myself becoming a real fan of the Kraken.
So you're a crackhead now?
You know, look, I won't go there.
You're a crackhead in the crack house?
Yeah, that's way too much going on. You know, that's messed up our community. But I do think that it would be great to have Converge Media Day at one of these games. Oh,
yeah, no, it'd be good to go check out that experience and everything else. Definitely want to see the Kraken before the season ends. But yeah, it was Kraken Day. Oh, and one more thing before we go to break. This was something that came onto our social media platforms on Sunday, but I got an opportunity today to put it into the morning update show. So the other day, have you been to Soulmates? They've been there for 4 years, right?
Yes.
Right up there on Broadway. You know what I'm saying? Broadway and I want to say Pike.
Yeah.
Broadway and Pike above the QFC. They're Soulmates. This amazing shoe store that SP and his wife Tanya, they've been there for 4 years in Soulmates. And over the weekend, the Bag CEO Black, they had a pop-up, a 3-day pop-up up there at Soulmates. And Bag, that's the clothing line, Billionaire Ambitious Grind.
Yeah.
Right? I think I have some Bag stuff back there. So anyways, Camera Phone Collective, we popped in up at Soulmates and caught up with the Bag CEO for a few minutes.
Y'all, this is a Bag CEO. Right now we up here at Soulmates for the just an annual pop-up. You know, I do this every other month. Get the people a chance to pull up on me personally, get that up close and personal experience. You know, it speaks for itself. Billionaire Ambitious Grind. You see this logo, that's what it means, you know? You see that, that's me. Like I said, I do this for us, the people, my family, everybody. This is for everybody right now today. Or this weekend I dropped the Dickie Jones, the Letterman jackets. I came with the jeans, tees. I had crop top hoodies for the females. I had bag tech outfits, cotton joggers, and then I even came with the pullovers too. Something new, you know, ski masks, dad caps, beanies, all of that, everything, all over. You can hit online for sure. I want you to hit the online. You know, shipping's included, all that's included, but it's www.beambitiousgrind.com. Or you can check me out on Instagram, BagCEO_Black, or the business page, Be Ambitious Grind on Instagram.
Gotta love seeing somebody that really, you know, come from the CD doing his thing. Shout out to you, Bag CEO in the building. The truth of the matter is that, you know, this is what I love about being a part of this community, is being able to see people that I know and I grew up with do something so phenomenal. So shout out to you, bro. Great work. And it is a great brand.
Yeah, and you know, I bought a windbreaker there. I paid full price. You already know. You know what I'm saying? So I could afford the windbreaker. Now a lot of the stuff there, he's like, yeah, this was $300 and people come and they buy. You know, they really love the brand. You know what I'm saying? I'm not quite to that level. I'm working my way up to one of the Letterman's jackets. But then also in there on the Soulmate side, those shoes that you saw early on there in the clip, he said those go for $2,000 each. Wow. They're like some designer, this and that. I said, my friend, this shoe is as much as our internet bill. Yo, and so Soulmate. So me and P exchanged number. We go way back, but I thought it would be great, man, to send Besa and Salman up there to Soulmates. You know what I'm saying? And we could look more into that store and what they're doing there. 4 years they've been in business, right up there on Broadway and Pike.
It's a beautiful effort. And yes, I have been in there, and shout out to my brother Marlon, because he was like, look, you got to go up to Soulmates. He knows those guys as well. And again, this is what I'm talking about. It's just like an extension of community and family, because, you know, you love to celebrate people doing great things. So I'm loving to see that store is still there and thriving.
Yeah, good stuff. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, though, we're going to talk about this $8 million investment and recovery for small businesses that Mayor Harrell talked about yesterday. We're also going to talk about where some of that money actually originated. And for you guys to watch the Morning Update show, you might have some idea where it came from. We'll be right back. You're watching the Morning Update show.
Hey there, it's Trey Holiday. And of course, Besa and I had to take a trip back to Market Street Shoes to grab some items. They always know what to show us. And let me tell you, we both spent quality time to be sure we collected some amazing additions to our wardrobes. They have some of the most unique bags, shoes, and accessories. I mean, the whole shebang. It's always a good time when I get to shop with my girl Besa. Make sure you go check out Market Street Shoes, y'all, and you too can walk out with some dope gear.
When the pandemic hit, it did affect me. As a barber, I had my own personal reasons why I didn't get vaccinated. At the time, I didn't check the actual source. I thought the vaccine was developed too fast, but I was talking to a doctor and he was telling me more about the vaccine and what it can do to protect us and our family. I wanted to get back to that once was, right? I do feel safe knowing that I am vaccinated. I just hope what I'm saying is reaching into people's heads to know that this is the best decision for all of us.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury. Like I said, a little different show today. We're usually popping it off with Julia, Jessie, and then we got the twins, and neither of them are here today. I guess we're stuck with each other. Huh?
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that because that's how we started originally. We didn't even have a bunch of guests.
We couldn't have guests.
We just would go back and forth about topics,
show.
man. We had it down, so it ain't no thing.
Let me tell you what I wouldn't do to be in that time machine and go back to the original Morning Update Show, because let me tell you what happened with this crime against humanity, the murder of George Floyd, is that we opened up our platform to the general public. We wanted people to see what was happening with the Seattle protests and everything else, and we opened up our platform. But before we did that, the Morning Update Show was like having breakfast with your family. Yeah. But then you left the show in such a good way and a good vibe, and it was so positive, and everybody in the comments was self-affirming and everything else. And we've been through like so much to that. Like it was some good days.
Yeah, definitely some good days. And even then we had some great guests. It would be great to start thinking about checking in. I'm thinking about Dr. Mook, and I'm like, man, we need to tap in with him. All these different changes, the variants that happen. It would be great to get a scientist perspective, a Black scientist who's been in the trenches with it at UW, in their labs, working on things. You're absolutely right. Oh, I mean, that's the origination.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right. So Mayor Harrell, it's a busy day for the mayor yesterday. I said earlier, I saw him there at Kraken Day, and he had a 1:30 press conference yesterday. I knew I was going to be able to make that. So I asked him a question about this big announcement. It's $8 million in recovery funds for, especially for small businesses. And I just asked him to tell us more about it. So here's Mayor Harrell right here talking about this $8 million in recovery.
So there's two things I think this is very important to recognize. Number one is I did bring in some new leadership in the Office of Economic Development in Markham McIntyre, who we think is going to help us measure how we're supporting small businesses, and in particular BIPOC small businesses, but all small businesses throughout the city. We plucked one of their gems in Pedro Gomez from OED to the mayor's office to make sure that we create new life and new ideas coming out of OED with Markham. So in this process, this is an announcement that we have $8 million that we have ready to support these small businesses. We don't want to just go to the big businesses. We want the money to trickle down because the small businesses are vital to the success of so many of our communities. We recognize that many of our first starts was at a small business. I got stories about small businesses that I worked in, like Eddie Cotton's drive-in when I was a kid. So we have to keep our small businesses vibrant as they compete in this world economy with these large corporations. So this is a early symbol in our administration of even greater things about to come about how we're going to support small businesses.
All right, so right there, and I think that any kind of recovery and funds that are available for small businesses, because they really are struggling in our city, is a good thing. And just to kind of put some detail on this is from the press release. City invests $8 million in economic recovery, funding to connect small businesses to operating capital. New partnership with Community Development Financial Institutions, CDFI, will allow small businesses to borrow up to $150,000 in operating capital to support economic stabilization and long-term recovery. So I think it's a good idea. They're putting money out there for small businesses, which they need, and also putting some technical expertise and things like that for people to get the funds. So, but what caught my attention, and I didn't notice this yesterday when I saw him, or else I would have asked him there, is it says that $5 million of this $8 million, $5 million in funding is from the Equitable Communities Task Force, ECI. Some of you guys who've been watching for a long time, you might remember ECI, Equitable Communities Task Force, but we called it a different name then. It was called Mayor Durkin's Task Force. If you remember that there was participatory budgeting got 30 million, and then Mayor Durkin's Task Force got 30 million, right? And so all the funds from this ECI task force are supposed to be targeted specifically for Black people and people, I should say, people of color. And so the mayor has taken $5 million from the task force and put into this budget. Now, I think that the mayor's thinking like, well, it's still going for business and everything else. And, I mean, how it is, man. It's a fast cycle here. But this money was specifically earmarked for Black businesses and businesses of people of color. This program, when you read the presser, doesn't say anything about any kind of preference or anything else for businesses of color. But our time machine isn't like, we don't go back a way long way, but we definitely go back to July 13th of last year. This is right before the legislation was signed with ECI, with all their stuff. Donna Moody came on to the Morning Update show and talked about some of it. Was they had carved out $7.5 million and as the task force, and Donna Moody talked about what this money should be used for.
Our whole focus was how can we make this easier, more approachable, and more successful, and keep our city full of a diverse amount of businesses and not start to have big boxes take over some of the empty shelves we have right now.
Right, and I think we have a slide here with some of were they able to put it together? So you said that 7.5 million building opportunity through small business support, provide equitable small and micro business capital, offer small businesses technical assistance on financial health, digital tools, and construction support. Now, with this, like many other things, with this, what a lot of times in government is really good at throwing things out, but there's no metrics to be judged against. Mm-hmm. How do you guys know if these efforts were successful? And to be fair, it's almost mm-hmm. nothing especially in government, it's 100%. Mm-hmm. But like, what kind of things do you guys impose upon yourself as a task force, and even right here in this process, and maybe in the legislation, that the checks and balances to this?
I really appreciate your skepticism, because I think a lot of people in our society right now have skepticism about government, about handing the money out, and what happens after that money goes into the hands of people. And I think one of the things we really wanted to do was keep checking in with people, also so they don't feel like you get money and then you're like done. And it's not one and done. Maybe you come back, you need more, maybe you find out that you could mentor another business. Maybe by people repaying with low interest rates, we keep a fund going. So a lot of our focus was to stay in touch with people, which is the technical assistance. Maybe people want like a little bit of marketing support. Maybe they want some education on how to modernize some of the digital or technological aspects of their business. So we really wanted to stay in touch with people and not just like do a transaction. We wanted a relationship. We want a relationship of small business community members that are talking to each other, supporting each other, and advancing and maybe scaling businesses so that we can start to create some generational wealth in our own communities.
All right, so Trey Holiday. So what we see is overall a really good idea and a good program. $8 million is going out for small businesses here. You know, I think most people would agree, but small businesses need help. I know we do. But $5 million of those dollars came from Mayor Durkin's task force and the ECI task force. And people should remember that this money, it was the $100 million, was hard fought. It divided the community. It brought up a whole lot of things, everything else. And now at the end of the day, almost in a whisper, you know, the money, you know, that's why I asked that question a year ago. Is this money ever really going to come out? Is it really going to impact Black businesses? Well, I mean, we see it's kind of coming out, but it's no longer looks like it has the emphasis to impact small businesses of color.
I just got to say, I love that we can go back into the time machine and really remember what was said at that particular time. I think it's so key and vital here when we see these funding efforts come out, because if we don't remember these things, if we do not, you know, have a great understanding of the origination of it. Omari's talking about the beginning. It was hard fought for. Originally, the mayor said $100 million in the Black community. She had to recant that, basically say this term BIPOC, which we do not use here, Black, Indigenous, people of color. It gets really muddy because you're not really talking about any one specific community. And so then it's like, okay, how do we do that? This task force came out with their recommendations. Now we're seeing that Mayor Harrell, with the swift of a pen, is able to say, look, 5 million of that's going to go into something that all small businesses can apply for. They don't have to have that preferential treatment for businesses of the global majority, particularly non-white businesses. That was something that was really, I think, heartfelt in terms of community members, all colors, saying that when we're talking about we need equity, what that looks like, that means ownership, access to resources, you know, that means being able to have a sense of agency. All of those things are what Community Voice was saying to bring these funds out. So this is really interesting, because, you know, once again, we're seeing these processes get whittled down, unfortunately, and all we can do now as a people is try to, I guess, press. I also want to say this. A part of this is about how businesses are informed about the opportunities. The unfortunate part about these processes is that, fine, you're not trying to give it to big businesses. You're going to be very intentional about small businesses. But how are those businesses being engaged so that we can ensure that Black businesses, Latino businesses, Indigenous businesses, all of those kinds of businesses are getting access to these funds? That's the part that I have now, because there has to be intentionality with the marketing and the engagement of community. As Donna Moody was just saying there, that relationship piece. Part of the issue is that these things come out and unfortunately doesn't even hit those communities that really are in need as well. So this is something that I wonder about the way that it's going to play out.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this is that, one, I want to be very clear that I think that making funds available to small businesses throughout the city of Seattle, you know, I mean, we interact throughout the city. It's important, you know, and I'm definitely not against that at all. I just think that, you know, the people who went through this and who went through even this whole 100 million of this and that and everything else, participatory budget, we'll see what happens with that over at with Office of Civil Rights, Derek Wheeler Smith. But people who saw this whole process through, I mean, this really divided our community in a way that I haven't seen, some people say, in generation, the way that it divided community. And for the task force, and especially everything that task force went through, for the task force to have their recommendations, and then for it to be transmitted. I think it was transmitted. We did a show right before they were transmitting it, and everything else, and for funds from that pot to be used, and there's nothing that's in there, for command. I mean, I hate to be the cynic, you know what I'm saying? I'm always the eternal optimist, but that's why I'm always sprinkling in there, like, is this really gonna come out? You know what I'm saying? And so I'm always asking about these different, we're putting money for this, or we're doing that, or we're doing whatever. Is this really gonna come out? Because all it takes is a budget shortfall. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is us Negroes at times, we get to battling each other over some crumbs, and then at the end of the day, through the stroke of a pen, it all disappears anyway.
Well, this is exactly why I think it's important when we talk about following the money. That is something that we know needs to happen. And to a certain degree, it also makes me wonder about the remaining funds that the Equitable Task Force said, okay, we need to make sure we have it invested in these sectors. Just makes me wonder, you're talking about a budget shortfall, and you're absolutely right. Then the funds have to come in from somewhere, and they start pulling from these resources. I think that there has to be something to be said about the accountability piece, right? Like, when we say that this is how this money is going to be spent, we're not changing that. We're not moving that. We're not going to do nothing different. This is how that money has to be spent. And it's almost as if it shouldn't even be that easy for Mayor Harrell to just be like, hey, I'm going to take $5 million over here. And I agree with you. Yes, let's invest. But that money was particularly for, the businesses of the global majority.
Well, the thing is the executive has executive's power. And, when we like when any mayor does something with their, with their powers granted them, that it's like, hey, when we don't like it, we're like, man, they should have this power. But I agree. I think that what stops people isn't so much the powers enumerated in their office, it's the voice of community. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if people are really aware. You see what I'm saying? As to where these funds are coming from. It's interesting, you know what I'm saying? We haven't heard anything from the city council either, and we'll keep up. I got to get back into this mode. You know what I'm saying? I miss my wordy and nerdy brother, Kevin Schofield, because Sco Money would have the whole breakdown on all of this stuff. So yeah, get caught up on it. But I mean, these are things that I remember even back at the time, city council was so untrusting of Mayor Durkin's task force that everything had to be under proviso until it was agreed upon. And imagine all of this fighting that went on in City Hall for the next mayor to just go, yeah, I'm just taking it. I mean, it just makes you wonder how things actually work down there, you know what I'm saying, in City Hall. I will say this, though, is I'm smart enough to know what I don't know. And so I don't know everything on this, but what I did, I reached out to Mayor Harrell's office this morning. It might be some information there that we're unaware of. So I don't want to say 100% of this or that. And so we give the mayor's office an opportunity to get back with us. But yeah, I mean, this money was, man, it was hard fought, and the Mayor Durkin made this money. She pledged this money and pledged it 2 years in a row. She pledged this money based upon what was happening in the streets here in Seattle.
This is exactly why, to me, it's so important, right? When we talk about the fact that it is necessary. I'm not saying that white-owned small businesses don't have a need for this money. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that, when we look at historically how things get funded, oftentimes it is Black, Indigenous, Latinx businesses that are at the bottom rung. And this was data that we actually have that showcases that the trickle down does not happen. We actually have, data that showcases that when we talk even about WIMBY businesses, oftentimes it's white males that got their wives as the primary business holder or CEO or exec that then allows them to kind of weave in, particularly around contracting. We've really seen data around that. So I got to say here that we got to be really careful when we talk about what the needs are and listening to community and then being able to really do something about it. Now, this $8 million coming into small businesses is great, but I think that if there's not any intentionality to ensure that businesses of the global majority are strong participants in this funding, that for me is a problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's just where the money came from, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like it's all good. Like if the 5 million came from somewhere, this would be a non-starter. We'd just be like, hey man, here's the program, here's the link. Do we have the link to the program there, by the way? No? All right, we'll make sure that it's in there for tomorrow. For people who want to apply, clearly 8 million is out there now. Go apply for it. The issue is there's a story behind this money. You know what I'm saying? There's a story behind it, and it was specifically for a reason. And also, I asked yesterday because, so the thing is, on the presser, when you look at it, it says, it has links that said, hey, this came from the ECI task force. But also, it's a link to the actual day that this legislation was signed. And even there, signing the legislation, Donna Moody and other people talked about, this is what we're going to use this money for. You know, Donna Moody came on this show right here and told our community, this is what's going to happen. So I think that the least that could occur is that we're just informed as to why not. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Government came and told us why. So maybe government could now come and tell us, like, why not? And, you know, then there's not assumptions. Why did the mayor do this? Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? You know what I'm saying? Maybe someone can tell us why not now. Is that money not being earmarked specifically for businesses of people of color?
Yeah, I love how you actually frame it that way. I think that that's a great way to look at it. Also, you know, if you're talking about, maybe we can dig a little deeper and see if there is any intentionality that's kind of built on how the process works. Is it a first come, first serve type of basis? How are they going to be, yeah. Like there's some things that, and I gotta say this too, how accessible are press releases to community members and business owners of the global majority. That to me is another thing too. So I mean that when I talk about the intentionality of the marketing, we see that when we're talking about, you know, hey, we want to bring displaced residents back to the central district, or, you know, something like that. It takes target marketing in order to do that right. Let's see how this plays out.
Yeah. And, you know, we're leaving a lot of space and grace. So, you know, we'll leave some space here to see, you know, where we're like, let us know, you know what I'm saying, as to why this money was tapped and, you know, why it's not some kind of preference that's in there. And, you know, I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to replace it. They're going to put it back later. You know, a short-term loan, maybe people swap it in between accounts. You know, you never know. I mean, and that's what I'm saying is I want to leave an opportunity for these guys to get back to us and let us know the plan. All right. All that being said, you know, we actually took some time on this.
Yeah, it was good.
Which is a good thing. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, the Morning Update Show continues.
We are literally on our way back from Vegas. We had an amazing trip. Got some good interviews coming up for you guys, so definitely stay locked for that.
Look like water on my island. Long way from running from the siren. I've been hella fly, I'm a pilot. I get what I want if I like it. Like it, yeah. If I like it. If I like it, yeah. If I like it.
What's up, Bird Media in the building? You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
We're gonna have to come back to Vegas real soon because it's really lit.
I'm a gardener. Yeah. So I speak gardener. I work with my mother at the farm. Dig up cassava, plant the cassava, chop the farm, clean up the farm, and everything like that. But I'm still painting, you know. In the morning, I go to the farm, and by 10 o'clock, I'll be back home every day. Sunday, Monday, every day. You see, the art passes through my veins and my blood and everything, and I feel like, yeah, it's art got to come out. It's got to come out. It's got to come out. But art is my life. Art is my life.
right. Welcome back to the morning update show. Just kind of grooving along today, huh?
Yeah, nice to, just for us to be chopping it up. We haven't done an episode like this in a while, I feel like,
Yeah, no, it's
good.
like it's always something. I think that we're gonna do some more set design here. I really liked our old set where we had the couches and everything like that. I think we, what I'm saying, we need to go back
Little
to a
living
couch,
room
love
set. That
and
looks
love
great.
seat. Yeah. Size. You might not say nothing on air, but I know that you're uncomfortable like me too with these chairs.
We make it work.
we make it work. All right. So, man, it's a big day tomorrow at the Paramount Theater. We got an overlay right here. It's Black Violin. Black Violin is going to be in the building, man. And, we did an interview with him not too long ago. Looking for a fantastic experience tomorrow. And thanks for reminding. You said, man, does your mama have tickets? Yeah. I was like, man, I'm sending an email right now. I know this is one of the shows. It's probably, it's a good advantage being my mom, because it's like, you probably go to any show that you want, you know what I'm saying? But this is the one my mom said that she wants to see is Black Violin. So give these guys a call and get some tickets. And man, I know you'll be there. A few other people will be there.
It's going to be exciting. I mean, let me just say that Dr. Maxine Mims is turning 94 years old tomorrow. And so I get the pleasure of taking her and some of our other elders in community out there. So I'm so glad that your mom is going to be there as well. People want to see this show, and Dr. Mims and Mona Terry and Lisa Terry together, they really make up Let the Strings Speak, which is our own local show of really spotlighting Black string musicians. There's different musicians in there, but they got African drumming. They have some people on piano, all that. But it's just a beautiful thing to be able to bring folks that are involved in that production locally to Black Violin. And shout out to the crew over at Black Violin. They are really making it a huge deal for us. So we'll be there a little bit early for a special celebration. Can't wait to really be able to report back on that next week. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow indeed. Plus, it's also my grandmother's birthday. She's turning 82, so I get to bring my grandmother, my mom. It's a family affair.
Rolling with the homies.
Yeah, I'm rolling with my elder homies. Absolutely.
All right, good stuff. Speaking of rolling with, we're gonna roll with Clapback Culture tonight. Clapback Culture, 7:00 tonight. Mike Davis, Julia Jessie. You know what I'm saying? Man, they got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike was trying to inform us on Wednesday. I know there's a lot going down. They're going to get right into it. As always, they do that in a great way.
Right. The Factors got the day off. It's their birth. Factors seem like the kind of guys that his birthday is just not one day. It's probably gonna be a birthday month for them. But so it's just Clapback at 7:00. There's no Factors tonight at 9:00. Then tomorrow, there's no tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Today is my Friday. Tomorrow, Feel Good Friday. Who you got on there?
Yeah, tomorrow, Feel Good Friday. We're bringing Debrina Jackson Gandy back to talk about the Elevate initiative. Really excited for them. And one of her partners, Edwin, will also be with her. And then Anthony Powers, for folks who watched Feel Good Friday last week, our guy, Vidal Blaze Vincent, talked about one of his good brothers, Anthony Powers, that's been, doing a lot of work. I can't wait to dive into this amazing website that he's launched with Microsoft. So we'll hear more from those three guests. And of course, T-Dub got to show up in the building. We got to hear about Art of the Matter and all the things that she has going on in the art world and community.
Yeah. And also the Rewind with Besa tomorrow. And Besa talked to Mark Hanson. So Mom made that trip down in Las Vegas. Mark Hanson actually came here in the studio as well. So we'll get to that. Nice. And you mentioned T-Dub. I want to remind everybody that Monday at 6:00, Monday at 6 p.m., it's the Art of the Matter, episode number 4, from back in Belize, Don Griga, I believe. Don Griga, Belize. And so that's 6:00. Man, for once, we're under time, Trey Holiday. We're overtime. We're under time here today, Trey Holiday. Before we get out of here, any last words?
For me, it's always to see yourself as a part of the solution. Even some of the topics that we talked about today are in need of community people to stand up and stand your ground. You make your voices heard when we're talking about how this money is spent. If you are one of those Black business owners or business owners from the global majority, and you're saying, hey, I got to make sure that my community that I'm connected to is aware of this funds, be the one to step up and make that commitment to others and to yourself. I just think there's so many ways for all of us to really see ourselves as a part of major solutions that are necessary for our city, for our state, right here every single day. Man, do that work and see yourself as part of the solution.
All right, good stuff. Don't forget tonight, 7:00, Clap Back Culture. Yeah, Clap Back Culture.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was Wednesday again too. There's too much going on. I'm out of here for this week. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long week. I'm out of here for this week. I know you're gonna have a fantastic Feel Good Friday tomorrow. And yeah, we'll continue to stay on this story, and we'll hopefully somebody from Mayor Harrell's office will get back to us, and we'll get more insight as to why those funds were used. But on that note, I want to remind you, go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. And until Feel Good Friday, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Peace.
What do I see through a lens of fear? 1,000 little steps to go. What do I fear after all these years? Lord knows I don't even know. I've been running on the edge of a sundial, sleeping in the shadow. I've been begging you to see me, then hiding beyond the unreachable. Looking out left on a right-hand turn, just trying to make a deal. A lazy shoes and love is a love that churn. That's the kind of food that heals. I've been searching for the end of an era, waiting to be ready. The world is bigger than a moment. Be steady, that's how you can feel it's real. But I feel naked in my new clothes, 'cause I got used to hiding the holes. This old world got new tricks and I'm in the thick of it. This I swear I'm already sick of it. At least I found the antidote. Oh. I know no one is a shadow. 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 No one is a shadow. But I feel naked in my new clothes, 'cause I got it.